Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. My name is Colin, your host today, and today I'm going to be interviewing a good friend of mine, Jin Furai himself. So introduce yourself, Jin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, gamers. Thanks for having me on today, BR. I'm very, very lucky and very, very excited to be talking about whatever we got going on today.
All right, sick. So obviously you're relatively new to the scene. It's been under a year, so I thought I'd ask you some questions relating to that. So
Sure.
what drew you to this game, and why did you want to, obviously Pokemon's cool, but what made you want to compete as well?
Well, I think that last year, prior to COVID, I was looking for something to compete in because the game I was currently playing at the time, Monster Hunter World, it dried up of content, became a little bit stale. Prior to gaming, I was a professional mixed martial artist, so I've got a draw and excitement when it comes to player versus player interactions, although I really don't like sports games at all. I think I'd rather just go grab a ball and do that kind of stuff outside. I spent some time online browsing to see what excited me, and of all things, I really couldn't stop watching competitive Pokemon. It wasn't necessarily just a single aspect of it, but just when you took the amalgam that it is, the VGC scene, I was really, really enthralled by it. You had so many different types of players, so many different ages, ethnicities, nationalities, et cetera, et cetera. So many different ways to win. We're not even talking about the game yet. We're just talking about the difference in players. It's not like a specific athlete that you have to be to, be successful at it. It was just everybody was finding a way to be successful. It seemed really chaotic, yet when I broke it down and looked at it before, I knew anything, it seemed really precise with the execution behind IVs and EVs. It just couldn't be anything more than the perfect time and the perfect game. They had the new generation coming out, Gen 8, and at the time I had accomplished everything I'd set out to do in Monster Hunter. I was listed as a world record holder for Guinness Gamers 2019, and I decided, hey, look, there's nothing else I can do here. Gen 8 is coming out, let's just pull the trigger. I played Gen 1 eons ago, and I figured it couldn't be much different, and I thought I'd just come in here and start, getting right to the top, and I couldn't have been more wrong, man. This game has layers upon layers. It's very, very, very difficult. However, the fun comes in learning. You know what I mean? If you can go through and figure out why your team's not working and make it work, I think that's time well spent. I think that's just like, playing any other video game and figuring out how to beat a boss or, overcome whatever hurdle is in it. It's rewarding. This game is very, very rewarding, even without the face-to-face aspect because of the quarantine and everything like that, so we can't get that thing, which I've never been able to be a part of yet. The online tournaments are awesome. Everyone is really, really respectful. Camaraderie's high, and it's welcoming. Sometimes you play a new video game, you go into something and everyone's online just saying a bunch of swear words and doing a bunch of gibberish. Dude, it's not the most fun to play.
Yeah.
League of Legends comes to mind as something that instantaneously you're like, wow, I can see why this turns people off, or why it even breeds more of that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon is, at least the VGC community, it's got hiccups like anywhere else, but it's got a good backbone, you know what I mean? It wants to be the best. It wants to take care of the players. It wants to take care of the people viewing it. So that being said, that's a lot of it, but that's definitely why I switched over to Pokemon.
So obviously, when you're new to a game, it's very daunting because you'll be playing against players like myself who've played for 10
Sure.
years, right? How do you find the drive to want to be better than someone who's played for 10 years? How do you find yourself able to beat them or even contest it? Because it just seems so daunting early on.
Well, it is. There's no doubt about that. You hit it right on the head. You're looking at a knowledge difference, which is one of the core mechanics of this game of at least a decade. Let's just take you and me, for example, right? You have 10 years of knowledge on me on this game. It doesn't matter how good I get at pressing X. There's no inputs that I've got to do faster than you. I don't have to iframe or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is knowledge being a large component of how good you are in this game. There's a couple things that allow someone who's like me, a newcomer, to even have a chance against, say somebody who's got a 10-year advantage on them. The first one is Dynamax. That mechanic has single-handedly thrown everybody for a loop. Whether you have played this game for a long time or you're new to it, that mechanic can flip games instantaneously. We've all seen it where someone Dynamaxes an Incineroar that they didn't expect had weakness policy, and out of nowhere, this support mon suddenly sweeps through 4 mons. That mechanic is very, very unique. Probably not the most well done, and the game would probably be better if it wasn't in the game, but that's an advantage for someone like myself because it hasn't been thought out yet. We're still figuring out metas month by month as the series begins. Each month we think it's going to be different. Everyone thought Dracovish with Sand was going to do well. I haven't seen that around at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great to see what actually pops up and occurs. The second thing that I think helps out is the rental teams. You previously, I guess, had to run through a lot of roadblocks to breed out your team. And if you wanted to change your team and keep it competitive, you had to do a lot of stuff too, unless you were doing the genning or whatever like that. With the rental teams, knowledge is power, which we already kind of touched on a few seconds ago. This helps bring that out to the community. It's like Prometheus giving fire down to the people. You're getting the goods. Like, I'm getting 10 years of knowledge when I get a battle room team. You know what I mean? Like, that's more than I would get on my own. And anybody who doesn't understand that, they're probably not doing very well on this game. If you're trying to hold on to your old, well, I'm gonna figure it out. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Find the stuff that works and change one small thing to your playstyle. A little creativity in this game goes a long way. Some great man I know once said that. And I think that keeps me going, knowing that there's always going to be a plethora of accessible knowledge, and that mechanics haven't really been looked at too much. This is the first time we've had Dynamax. It's a lot different than the mega items that they had before, where you're not removing the item slot, you're not really changing stats per se or typing or anything like that. It's just mostly HP and then damage. It really does give a new person, and I wouldn't say an advantage, but a platform to stand on. You have at least the opportunity to compete against somebody. Now, there's also the idea of, I'm new, so they don't know how I'm going to play. That goes against something. Like, maybe you played against somebody at regionals for a long time. Someone who's new that's coming in, they've got that little bit of advantage of they're new, or you don't know what they're going to do. And I would like to think that in some of the weird times that I've won and beat somebody who's probably massively better than me, it's because I did some off-brand play, like Dynamaxing a Togekiss when I shouldn't have, or something like that. And because of how it's played out and how I've looked at it, just the surprise factor, it may have won the best of one or something along those lines. I think there is one final thing too that probably is pretty big on why I'm able to hang, and it's because every time I lose, it's my fault. It's my fault. It has to be my fault. As much as I'll say for entertainment, it's hacks or whatever. Like, I acknowledge in chat. I go through. I review my videos. It's my fault, because if you can acknowledge, listen, here's a flow chart. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. Where did I go wrong? You might not get the right answer, but you'll get an answer that can give you a different outcome. So as long as you're assessing your games and looking at them like, hey, listen, I probably could have done something, maybe not better, but maybe differently, you're not going to get too frustrated. And you definitely shouldn't spend a lot of time on building your team. Just I want to go back to that and just say, take the teams from that are working. I can't stress that enough, man. If something's good, it's good. Mm-hmm. There's no reason not to stick to it. Let me ask you this, BR. In previous gens, if you had that option, would you guys think that you would have been seeing a lot more of the same teams from each other like we do now?
I think it's kind of a cultural shift as well, because I think a lot of the teams were very less centralized until 2016, and that was when people started to just really focus on this one archetype of Xerneas Groudon, Big Six, and then it started to invade the culture of team building. It's a really weird, different thing. But I think obviously the rental codes, because after every time someone wins a tournament or does well, they almost give out the team as a they feel like they have to. So it the information is being spread more, because I think rental teams are good. They're good to put in the tweet. They're good to put on YouTube. They're a good source. It feels like you almost have to give it out. And I think the information is spreading more rapidly because of rental codes, because it's just so easy to just pick up a team from a top player and just use it right away, like you mentioned. And I think it definitely changes the culture of the team building and being influenced by creators and players.
It's a big confidence booster, you know what I mean? Let's say someone wins a tournament and then they put the team out there. That team's good. You don't have to worry about, how do I, it's just really figuring out how do you use it, because you haven't really seen a team report usually until they kind of get it out there. I enjoy that, man. I really enjoy that they come out like that. It's good to see stuff that works, because it gives you ideas, stuff that you didn't see before. I think one of the most recent things that I saw that came out was when Fevzi did Salazzle with Sweet Scent, and then he was rocking Hypnosis with it. I just thought that was funny, just to boost it up to 100%. Just small little cheap things like that. It's cool to see, as much as they probably don't win you a best of 3 all the time. It's good to see creativity out there, because eventually we're going to keep finding, some more and more secret sauce that works. It's awesome to see it coming out.
It feels almost never ending, with what you can build and use.
I wouldn't even think that we're anywhere near the depth that we are. Right now, from what I see, each meta shifts for 30 to 90 days for the series or whatever, and we only really get to see what's really good in it, because by the time we've gotten the secondary stuff to start show its head, we're usually about to swap into the next series. And we've removed mons, added DLC, stuff along those lines. I do think that the cycling is one of the best things that they've done. But I do think that because of it, one of the side effects is that you don't ever truly get the depth of what you would if you extended something out for a year like they used to.
So obviously, you're pretty well known among the community for your Sun teams, right? So
Sure.
why Sun? And then do you consider yourself like a Sun one trick? Like, would you deviate from Sun? Like, do you want to deviate? Can you deviate? Would you want to?
Yeah, so all the answers to that are yes, and no. I wouldn't think I'm one trick in anything, just because in a lot of my opportunities that I've had in other games, it was just because I would be a man of surprise. I'd like to try to throw something out that the opponent wouldn't expect, go to school with psychological warfare, just stuff along those lines, because the element of surprise in any kind of competitive environment usually can win you something pretty quickly. That being said, Sun was, when I came on, I came in November, it wasn't the most prevalent thing right away. I think Excadrill and T-Tar were kind of running around. My playstyle is I like making people get really frustrated. I like to see them, throw their controllers, rage quit. I've got the rage quit counter on my screen. I come from, the Dark Souls kind of universe where, that's kind of looked at in a rewarding way. So I think because I don't have the skill that, say, someone who's done this game for 10 years has, if I can get them off their kilt, get them a little frustrated and maybe making mistakes, then I can capitalize. I think that's usually the easiest way, and that's probably why Sun gave me the opportunity. While everyone recently has been running, Venusaur, Torkoal, I haven't used Torkoal in forever. It's been all Ninetales for me. While I don't know if that's better, it's definitely more fun. Fake Tears, Hypnosis, fast Heat Waves to beat Kartana, just stuff like that. It's enjoyable to play. So I definitely, if you guys haven't heard, I've switched off from Sun until at least February, just because I want to just start playing through other stuff. I'm currently using Pato's team with PZ. Very, very fun. Probably going to try to get some Lapras stuff out there. I don't really know, but I'm going to be exploring everything else. I think Sun as a whole, with what they've added, it's pretty OP. It's got to be considered top tier. You can't consider it anything less than that. That's probably a reason on why I've had any success with a lot of things. If I'm using a team that's arguably one of the better ones or cheapest, or however you want to phrase it. I mean, it wins everything. That's probably what kind of aided it. I wasn't trying to figure out, well, how do I do this whole thing? No, man, I took what worked and I ran with it. Like I saw one of these players like yourself or some Japanese guy do it, or girl or whatever, and I ran with it, and it stuck. It worked. It's user friendly, especially the way that I play it. Just click and pray to God. So it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable for sure. I think I'll enjoy it when I go back to it. I already have some new ideas on how I want to run it, but it's definitely a fun play style for anybody who's looking to get into the game. I know it's looked very, very down upon, so if you don't have thick skin, do not use it right now. If you are, because you will cry. People will attack you on Twitter daily. But if you don't care about that stuff and it's all just playing a children's video game, then hey, then play however you want and have a good time, right? That's the way to do it.
So as a competitor, what are your goals like for this game? Like, do you want to win it all? You want to win worlds? Like, what do you want to accomplish in the Pokemon competitive community?
Brother, when you sent me this interview thing, I was thinking about that question. And I was like, what am I actually trying to do? And then you and me had a previous conversation here, before we got into the interview, and I was talking about some other stuff. And as I sit here and I think about it, I want to win some shit, man. Like, if I really think about it, I want to win some shit. I don't know what the goal would be. Worlds would be incredible. Guy comes in, something like that. But you got to be realistic. Now, in my head, do I want to do the biggest? Yeah, I definitely do. Do I got to start somewhere? Yep. And that's why I've, recently signed up in some leagues. I'm in a draft league now. I'm in a Pokemon draft league, so 2 separate leagues. Just doing small things to kind of get my player base, my player knowledge down. Been doing more tournaments recently, even though I'm getting my butt kicked in a couple of them. It definitely is the end game. I don't think I want to stop anywhere near here. I don't think I'm anywhere beginning. I'm at the beginning of how good I'm going to get, and I think most players are probably at that same level too. I think 90% of the player base is probably just beginning to get anywhere, just because we haven't scratched the surface on a lot of stuff. The only people who really have are the 10% that are kind of pushing the meta every single month, and God bless each and every one of you for helping all of us out. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to keep running with this, and I do want to see myself winning some things. I couldn't tell you what it is yet. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and look stupid, but I'm a winner, and I want to keep winning. I'll leave it at that.
So obviously, as well, you're a new player. So what advice do you have for players who are just starting out like you? Maybe they're a little bit further along. Maybe they're a little bit behind you. What advice do you have for new players?
Well, I can talk about the things that I would do differently and the things that I did do right, and it's a combination too. So let's point out the mistakes I made. Get in tournaments as fast as you can. Even if you're going to lose, get in tournaments as fast as you can, because tournaments will teach you 10 times more how to play than ranked ladder ever will. That's just the reality of it. If you want to get good at this game, it's about being consistent. Everybody can figure out some one trick weakness policy proc turn 1 Dynamax BS. Like, wow, good for you. Congrats. You've done it. Nice job. To consistently win, you've got to be able to understand the knowledge and the mechanics of the game. And that's going to take losing. You've got to be able to take losing in this game, because I've seen people that have spent 2 weeks on a team getting hyped up for a tournament, lost, and then just vanished off the face of the earth. Like, it's unfortunate, but it happens more often than not. It's because and that's not what this game's about. This game's about losing and figuring out how to fix your stuff. That's why they give you the opportunity to have a game over in 7 minutes. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal to lose in this. It's really not. I know it might feel like that because we only have so much going on right now with COVID, right? We don't have all the local tourneys that probably were going on before that everybody was having a good time with. But yeah, learn, just be okay with losing. That'd be the number one thing, man. Just, it's okay to lose. Don't stress. Don't stress.
I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you very much for the interview, Jin. I hope it helps out the aspiring Pokemon Masters out there. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Oh man, I can't wait to use Mewtwo coming up. I'm excited for that. That's about it. I'll see everybody in the final sooner or later, and I hope everybody has a great time with the rest of their weekend. Enjoy yourselves, okay?
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check out my Twitch, down below, and then Jin's Twitch as well, if you want to check out his laddering sessions on Twitch. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good day.